Don't you hate it when you're doing any kind of chord changing and you get that annoying guitar finger squeak? Well, we're going to eliminate that finger squeak. I'm going to show you what causes it, how to avoid it, and we're going to do a specific chord changing practice exercise that's going to show you how to work on getting rid of it in anything else you play. It also sounds really cool and it's fun to practice. Let's do it. So this is a chord changing etude. We're going to specifically work on avoiding the squeak. And if you've heard the popular aphorism for better technique, don't let it squeak, that guitarists are saying everywhere, please know that it's from this video that it started. I'm kidding, of course, but that'd be cool if it caught on. For better technique, don't let it squeak. That's the subtitle of this etude. Okay, this is borrowed from, inspired by Villa-Lobos's Etude number 1, a classical etude. And what we're doing is we're simplifying it and just working on the shifting factor of this diminished shape, right? If you look at this here, same shape, same shape, same shape, same shape. That's exactly what this beautiful classical etude does, but we're simplifying it and just working on it as a kind of a don't let it squeak etude. So position 10 there, that shape, this is a diminished chord shape. So this could sound very advanced. I'm doing some finger style. I use these finger picks a lot of times. Doesn't matter how you pluck here. You could do, absolutely, I'll do it with just a straight up a pick. You could do it even just all with your thumb or whatever you want. So this is not about the plucking hand at all. This is about the fretting hand. Okay, so you've got this shape and this is all written out for you here and you could see the tabs as well, but it's just gonna be this and you're arpeggiating that shape up and down. And then playing the low E and then shifting it down. And that's it. We're going to go all the way down to, and then we'll resolve to a chord at the end. Here's the trick. Okay, this is why it's so helpful. This is an absolute game changer for switching chords for 2 reasons, but the squeak is kind of the main attraction here, getting rid of that squeak. So instead of shifting as you lift off and shifting at an angle, oops. So that's how the squeak happens. It's that you start to move this way or this way, left or right, as you lift off. That's where the squeak happens. You want to lift off directly off and then shift. If you can manage that, your squeak is gone completely, no matter if you have brand new strings or not. That is the secret. Okay, so you play this low E and then you lift off completely and then you go to the next one. Now, game changer number 2, that's not even the main point of this lesson, but it's relevant all the time. If you are playing chords and putting single notes down, you're starting with this note here on the 2nd chord, you actually just put that finger down first by itself. All of those words had periods in between them, if I wrote it down. That is so huge. That could be its own lesson. It's just so critical. Put the finger down as you need it because then you can be relaxed. You'll play this, you'll lift off straight off. You'll put this finger down on that fret and then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. So if you need a lot of work on that, that's okay. It's gonna be huge for your guitar playing. So we're gonna pluck 0 squeak. Oop, tiny squeak. Okay, so I'm actually putting down finger 2, 3, 1, 4. Okay, that's priority number 2. First priority is lift off. It's really a, for better technique, don't let it squeak is the name of the game here. So if I don't do that, there's a big one. It's hard to do it on purpose now because I'm so used to trying to not do it. So now listen without that. Okay, I'll play the whole thing and show you actually on the screen what I'm playing, and then we'll resolve to an A minor chord at the end. And that is the etude. And as simple as it is, if you really focus on that with an etude, the point is that it's so one-dimensional that you actually get to master something specific and not worry about other stuff. And then it will surprisingly come into your focus and your playing, and you'll realize how to work on it in other places later. Okay, so master it in something simple like this. So here it is. resolves to a nice A minor chord there at the end, just open A, boom. And bonus points if you bring your thumb here and mute this E, because otherwise it's ringing. Mute that E there at the end. You don't have to do that. But isn't that nice that you notice how the squeaks were not there? Okay, rather than if you don't lift off completely and lift off not at an angle, but straight off, that's a loud squeak there, those demonstrations there. So there's a big difference, right? And it's intentional that someone is able to play with by minimizing those. Now, some amount of guitar noise is part of the instrument. It's a beautiful part of the instrument. It's what makes it sound human and organic, right? So we're not trying to create something sterile, but boy, does it feel good to get some control over these things and understand where they come from and how to minimize them when we want to. So for better technique, don't let it squeak. Fun little etude there. If you happen to want the PDF of that, exactly the tabs and sheet music, you can get it in my weekly lesson resources membership. It's basically like my Patreon, but it's on my website. It supports the channel, and you get resources and downloads to lessons. Each week I put out a lesson every Tuesday. If you don't feel like you need that, because this is pretty straightforward, totally fine. Everything you need is in this video, of course. I hope you find it helpful. I hope that planted a seed in your mind for how to eliminate those squeaks. And even if you don't work on it and master it right away, maybe a year from now you're working on something and the squeak is driving you crazy, keep this in mind. Lifting off, maybe come back to this and work on this exact etude to master it in a one-dimensional way, and then you'll be able to apply it to other stuff as well. So I hope you found that helpful and interesting. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Hope to see you in another lesson soon. Take care and happy practicing.